So he's in the village limits, but he's right on the edge where they kind of said it's going to cut off at.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know. You know what I mean?
This
Does it make
gets
it that
tricky.
far to him?
Yeah.
The A-frame out there, are they included? You know, stuff like that. Something to think about. So what I'm getting at, I'm not trying to figure it out tonight.
No, I like this.
That number may go down.
Sure.
So if it goes down 10 homes, you're not bringing up.
Well, I mean,
It would be lower if people aren't going to
right,
benefit
and
from
I mean, they capped this at a 700 capacity for the treatment facility that they want to put in. So at some point, they're allowing for some growth
Yes.
if people want to join.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily, and as long as it's not heavily leaning their way, you know, I mean, you can't always be perfectly exact.
So how do we make that decision on the ones that...
I honestly don't think that decision would be made until bids are done and they deem it too.
Well, I meant the voting decision, at this level, the voting decision. Do we let them go ahead and vote because we really aren't sure, so it might affect them in the near future?
It's still a survey.
They're in village
Exactly.
limits.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess you're right.
I think it's
Yeah.
best to have them. I think when we start pulling things out that they think are random, we start to get back where we were not being trusted.
Yeah, because he has one towards his other property. His other property may be here in town.
I didn't see a Josh.
Yeah.
I only saw one
The
Josh.
referendum doesn't come up until after everything is set.
Bingo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
we would go
That
through
was
this.
my understanding.
That's
And then it's on the citizens to pursue that if they want a referendum vote,
Yeah.
which is sweet.
Yeah.
Because we have to do the ordinance thing, she said, and we would have solid numbers,
The dead ordinance.
Right.
real plans. But I only see one Joshua.
So it's decided one vote per household, no matter how many.
Per pin number.
Then what?
One vote per pin number, but if they have multiple pins, their pins are getting grouped.
Yes,
Right?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
We'll figure out how to do that, or maybe we'll just take one off and give them one.
Sorry.
Because I learned how to do a mail merge for 300.
Okay. Was there anything else that you wanted to see on these that, or how we need to?
I've never seen like a card with parcel numbers on it that say yes or no.
And those are going to need to will be going out soon. We'll need to, if these need to be back by November 1st.
So
Well, is there a way to get a feasibility study, the feasibility study mailed out to everybody too? I mean, I don't know how thick that is. You know what I mean?
downloaded it, I think it's like 3 pages.
Okay.
I mean, I know we could go online, but a lot of people, again, don't have the ability to print, don't have a lot of different things.
Right.
And Fairgraham said they were going to bring them.
Yeah, I think they didn't anticipate. I was shocked they didn't have enough.
Well, and it wasn't just that, but they said they would bring them later, and they did not.
They sent the second here. Can we have something in here saying that they are available on those times as well? I mean,
That's
I
what I was thinking.
think that
Can we
would
have
be the
Fairground get
best.
us more?
And that makes more sense to have them available
Yeah,
here.
It would be so costly to print those out,
Well, I think they.
mail them. It would just be.
Yeah, it's 55 pages. Is that the same one
Yeah.
they had on hand?
I don't know, I've got
It
mine with
says-
me.
It's this one. We all.
Oh, wait, that's more like a
Yeah.
PowerPoint thing. That's not 55 pages, is it?
Yeah, it's probably, I don't know, it's
I've
probably
got the actual
close.
study. I'm looking at the wrong. Oh, here you go. There at the front. The key highlights.
But this is where if you just take the certain charts and certain highlights and just do those, but this is page 30, page 33, I'm not seeing 50 and I'm seeing maps. You're probably close to about 45 pages, yeah.
So, okay.
It's just something to think about if we could even.
Yes.
I get not getting everybody a copy. If we could have 10 copies here for people that can't print.
I think that's a good
Give
idea.
them something, whatever, be 20.
Yes.
But if they want the full copy or whatever, we can email it to them,
Right.
you know.
It's much smaller than 55 pages.
That's
Yeah, this is just the one I picked up on the 27th, but
Wait, so this is the one that was at the meeting, the one you have in your hand, Joyce?
Yes.
Okay, and it looks much smaller, but.
I think she was just holding up a portion of the whole.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, I mean, this is just what
so that's something we could talk to them about. too,
it's
and
still
have it here.
around 40 pages. But again, if you synthesize things down to the critical pieces, those are the things people are really going to be looking for most of all.
This is what
Well, we
was
could-
handed out at the park.
Okay.
On the postcard that we mail out, you can put on there,
Yep,
we will have
copies of.
some copies of it. If you can't print, we will provide you with one. We would prefer to email it or something.
Copies of the proposed.
That way everybody can have a copy.
What do they call it?
Feasibility study.
Yeah.
The proposed feasibility study, or I don't know. Yeah, there you go.
And if you get an influx of people, which sometimes happens, if you have multiple ways of showing the information, the better it is for the people that come in, so that they're not all vying for the same thing at the same time.
Yep. I think the first time we did this back 2 years ago, like I said, they would put kind of like a Q&A, and I put the page numbers of where this information was so they could look at it. So just a simple little handout that refers to this.
Handouts are fine, but again, I would still say
Have
if
this
you've got
available.
people, charts, visibility that they can walk by, they can read, they can go with the flow, as opposed to sitting down, looking. People respond to information in different ways, that's all.
No, I agree.
Just overlooking what you have in yours, it looks quite complicated too. To
Right.
be figuring it out. If you were the average, I don't want to say dumb person, but
I get it. I'm with you.
but if you looked at it, you got all those maps in there and stuff. It gets quite complicated by what little I've seen of it.
And maybe they got a bullet point one that they can put on top and go from there.
Yeah, because you don't really care how much flow there is, right? For the
Well, most people don't like story problems. They just as soon look at
here
a
we go,
chart.
like project cost estimate summary,
Yeah.
estimated annual debt service.
Yeah, and those are the things I put on what I gave you.
Yep.
People also want to know, how much is this going to cost me?
Right, and that's on there. Yeah.
That's the big thing,
We
though.
won't know till we do the
No,
next
it says
Right.
it's an estimate, but again, you've got to start somewhere, and
For
then
sure.
you're moving to the next step.
Yeah.
Will you get half the village to even do it?
Ray says we'll be
They all
lucky.
have the opportunity.
Yeah.
So you can't make them come in. They have the opportunity.
That's right, but
then you'll
I
be-
don't think you're going to get over half to even try.
But then you've offered it, and then if they don't, it's not your fault
Right.
because you
Right.
made it possible for them.
There's no other way,
That's right. You will have done everything you could have done.
and then some.
Okay, so when do you want these to go out?
So,
Because we'll have the first meeting here on November 1st. Time is running short. And to give notices to people when to come in the date.
right. So, for the card design, I set things up in a couple different ways, depending on the size of the card. I figured we could just do labels, put these on labels, slap them on the card, and I have their name, and unfortunately it takes a lot of effort. They're all in last name, first name. It would take a lot of effort to do it the other way, so I think it will get to the people even with the last name first.
It should.
Yeah, and then I've got survey one of, we're going to change this number. So on each card will be a label that has the name, billing address, city, state zip, survey one of X, and the parcel number. And that will be on the label that can just be put on a card. Does that make sense? And then on the other side would be the survey, I guess. survey design standpoint?
The survey would be here, they'd get that.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Right.
That's right, it's same thing, same principle as if it were
Right.
going to be mailed, but that's an identifier, yes. And they'll be stacked, probably in alphabetical order. Somebody will come in and say, this is my name.
Yeah.
Okay, does that work? Yeah. So label on one side, survey on the other.
And so, were you going to get that set up with, who's gonna do that printing of it? Minuteman, or, and when are we gonna get that done? So we
It's
can
already
get it-
set up, I need you guys to buy the labels.
Okay,
So, or I can buy the labels and do the printers, so we can get that done. So, but I still need to know, I mean, just we looked at on pretty much anything. I don't know, Chris did the last mailing with a postcard. I know when we did the first one, it just like the average size
right,
postcard.
and the second one, she used a bigger one, and I don't know if she was required to use a bigger one?
I think what happened was Minuteman told her it would be less costly to do a large one because you only have to take a page and cut it.
Right.
Rather than all of this, so I think she was going more cost of printing rather than cost of mailing. But,
I think the post office also told her that the small ones were too difficult to mail.
is that right?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
thinking there was something.
Okay. So, if somebody could just, yeah, Minuteman would do the printing of the cards themselves, and I can do the labels, so can Chris get that taken care of with Minuteman, because she knows the sizes.
Right.
If she can do that in, I'll do the labels, and we'll just put those on the other side of the card. Does that make sense?
So I'm trying to think, when we had things printed by them before, were the addresses on those somehow?
We use the EDDM, which you don't have to have specific addresses, it's just within a zip code range. So that's what we did. Because it would be, because you're talking, every single name would have to be different. And,
And how many labels are you needing?
depends on the size of the card. I mean, I think, if given that we're bigger, why don't I get them, because I have this set up specifically for a very specific Avery number, and it was a challenge to get that.
Right.
Challenge for me.
My
I
thought
love learning,
is-
so if you need another one, then let me know.
Well, my thought is they should go out and buy.
Yes. I can do the labels quickly.
Yeah.
I just need to get the labels, I'll
Need
order
to
them.
go out within the next week.
Yeah.
So that people will be able to have
This will be
this.
my only responsibility on this until the meeting. If Chris can do the other stuff, I can fit it in.
And if you need help with it,
Oh, thank you. That might need help putting the labels on, thank you. I was just doing the production series. So change that.
Anything else anybody wants to add to those? I think what Elizabeth has drawn up was really good.
But we're going to add a sentence about copies of the facility plan will be available to view. Isn't that what we discussed? Okay, you got that. Okay.
Anything else anybody wants to add to that? If not, we can move on.